Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to the class.
Hey, good morning, Preeti.
Good morning. So connected to our machine which we are doing. By the way, have you all done with your lab setup like creating AWS account, creating EC2 instance?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. Also have done some hands-on on the Linux part. Started the hands-on.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Right. So yesterday we were learning some Linux commands, right? Today we'll proceed to the shell scripting. What is shell scripting and why do we need it? Any idea? Yep.
To automate some process.
Yeah, see here we are, yesterday if you see, we have installed the package, right? And then we have started the service. We have done some set of things, but each step we were doing one after the other. But what if you want to automate the whole thing, right? Means I don't want to sit on the command line and run first, install the package, then start it, then deploy. Let's say I want to do all of that in a single go. Like I want to put all these commands in a file and run the file. So which should take care of all these steps. That's nothing but shell script, right? You put all these commands in a file, which is nothing but a shell script file. You can execute it so that you can have all these steps getting executing one after the other. That brings a better way of automation, isn't it? So that's what is called shell scripting, a bunch of Linux commands. Okay, I'm creating a simple script file like a sample script or whatever. Your shell script will end with sh. That's the extension. And it begins with a shebang line. Shebang line means it starts with hash, exclamatory, and the executable we are using. We are using, you see, your shell script or Linux commands are executing means shell program on the server is being used at the backend, right? Shell is used. Shell is a program which executes this. So there are different types of shells. Bash means born again shell. That's a most widely used one. That's a new version, I can say. So this indicates, okay, which shell program it's using. That's called shebang line. Shebang line because this pound is called sharp and this exclamatory is called bang. Hence it's called shebang. That's not required, but just some idea. That's all. So your script file begins with this line. Then you may write any shell script, simple echo command. What does echo command do?
Echo
It will
command.
print.
It will print, that's all. Simple echo command I'm writing, set up and configure the server. And I'm saving it. Now you can run the script instead of you running. See, the usage is if you directly write them, you can't reuse it, right? Each time you have to use. Also, you have to do one after the other. But here you run the script, you may have multiple commands there. See, it executed. If you see the permissions on this file, of course, everything is fine. It's not an executable, means you have to run with a bash. If you provide executable permissions for it, let's say, see, we learned, right? You provide executable, but where is it used? This is how. If that is the case, if you give executable permissions, you can directly run the file like this. That is what is executable. Okay. Not that every text file you make it executable, it doesn't make any sense, but this is where these files you can make them as executable so that you can call them directly. Got it, everyone? So that's a simple script file and like how you create a file. Now let us go on make modifications to this file and enhance our script. See, I'm again telling you for the benefit of everyone, you don't need to have some background of coding or your scripting skills. You should have nothing. Just learn it as a new subject. That's all. Okay, just print command. Then next, have an open mind and just learn it as a new subject. Okay, you don't need to have any prerequisites before it. Just understand what I'm teaching. That's all. Okay, now let's say I have some file name called config.yml or text file, whatever it is. I want to store it in a variable. What is a variable? Again,
Declaring
variable is not again only related to programming. In your mathematics, you might have used variables,
A
correct?
placeholder, we can say.
So what is a variable?
It is a placeholder, something we need to store it.
To store something somewhere
not
else.
not repeating dry principle.
A variable is to hold some value.
Yes, it's
Like
some kind of a placeholder, yeah.
Like in programs, it's or in your problems in maths, you might be using a variable x equal to 5. We assign some value. X is a variable, right? Let's take a home loan as a variable x, right? You put x equal to 50 lakhs, that's your home loan. Let's take another variable y where you can keep your house expenditure, something like that, right? So y is a holder where you store some value. Same is the case here. Okay, you can have some variable to store this file name x. But I don't know what is x later after 3 months or after 10 days. I see I don't identify. So give a proper name to your variable. A simple name like file name or else config file or else let's say it's some file related to Terraform config, something like that. So that a more meaningful name so that you can understand what it is after a couple of days also or else someone else can understand what it is. Yeah. So file name is a variable. I stored this config.yml here. Now I want to print that file name using file. How do you refer a variable? Means I want to print their config.yml, which is stored in the variable. Any variable will be referred with a dollar. Okay, to configure. Use this file to configure. You may be asking instead of that, you can write config.yml here itself. But this config.yml keep on changing. Means whenever I run this script, I want to pass a different file. We will also see that's where the concept of variables makes more sense. You can keep changing that file name. Is this much clear, all these 3 lines, everyone?
Yes, yes.
The third line, could you please explain?
This one?
Yeah, file name to configure.
Just I want to print like use file name to configure. Which file name I want to print like use file config.yml to configure. So instead of using this, you referred it at the variable. Variable will be referred with a dollar before it. Dollar file name means you are referring the variable. So the value stored in the variable will be substituted here. Right? Means it will print use file config.yml to configure.
Okay.
See, now you run this. See, use file config.yml to configure. You may be asking me, like instead of this, I can write file name here itself. Why do I need a variable, right? Because as we progress in the next step, my configuration file keep on changing. Today it is config file. After some time, I want to pass another file as config file, like a new config file, new config.yml, another file is there. So you can pass it whenever you are executing it, a different value. I'll show you, okay? That will be answered in a couple of minutes. I'll demonstrate that in few minutes. This much clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And here I would like to use another variable called config files, like y, x, y, okay? And then I want to get the content of some folder. So how do you get content of folder? ls and the folder name, right? This is how you get it, correct? So yeah, also I want to print here this content also, like echo contents of config. The variable is config files, right? Yeah, I'm referring this means it will print ls config, whatever present in that directory will be printed here. Okay, are we good? This and this is the new line.
Yes.
Now, if I run this, see, ls cannot access config because it is doing ls config, but where is config directory? And also contents of config because it cannot get the content, it was left blank, right? So what I want is, I don't want this error. What I want is, I want it to print if the directory is present only, not always. I want this line to be executed only if that config directory is present. Yeah? How do you do that again? If minus d is a file parameter. Okay, minus d means it will check if this directory exists or not. So if config, then echo reading config directory. Okay, then config files. Okay, then I want to execute. If this is present, then I want to execute this line. See, if conditional statement is nothing but it will check if it is true, then it goes inside. If it is false, I want to print something else like config directory not found. Okay, and create it, creating the directory. Okay. Also here, create the directory mkdir config. Okay. And then because the file is there, there might be no folder files inside. Let's create a file inside file1.txt. Okay. Then get the contents. If block will be closed by F5. See, I'm explaining here again. Please listen carefully. If means it's a called conditional statement, if else block. Okay, if minus d means it's a file parameter. It will check if this is a directory. Minus d means it will check if it's a directory. Means if it is true, then it will, this is called if block. This is called else block. If it is true, it goes inside and it prints, it reads the config directory and it takes the files of it. If it is not there, then what it will do? It will create a directory. It will create a file in that directory and then it will get the contents. Fi is to close this if block. Always either if block means this one or this one will execute. Both will not execute. Any one block will execute. And then echo using file name to configure contents of config directory, config files. Is this much clear for you all? Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is this much clear for all of you? Let's see now what happens. Now I'm running this. See, config directory not found, creating the directory. Using the file config.yml to configure. Right? See, config directory is not found because it's not there. It went into the if block. Okay. And using the file config.yml to configure. Now, let's see. See, do you see it has created it? It has went in there and created file. Means it went to if block or else block.
Else block.
Else block. This is not present. So first time it went in here and it printed this one. Do you see? Config dot not found. Config directory not found. Creating the directory by using this command. Then created a file there. Then got the contents of it and printing it. Yeah. What if you run it second time? I'm running it again now. See, already directory is there. Just reading the content. It went into if block. Using file to configure contents of config file, it's printing. Are we good?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So if
Just give me
you
1 second, please. 1 second, sorry.
yeah,
I'm sorry for that. So, yeah, we were like it went into the if block now because every directory is already there. It's just getting the contents of it. And yeah, please, someone is asking some question. Can you please go ahead?
yeah. If I want to create directly in some other now I think you are in root, right? If I want to create in some other group or how can we pass it? We need to pass the full path or
Just the file name depending on, I mean, folder name depending on how you are using. You want to parameterize, like pass the values, correct?
yes.
Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, we are going to do it in just next step. Everyone clear with this part? Is the script clear, particularly who are new to this? There might be people new to this, so I want to provide my extended help to them. Anyone who did not understand, who are new to this, who have any questions? All good, all the 23 participants good with everyone?
Yes.
You can feel free to raise your hand.
If condition is
Mm.
that it starts with -t every time.
No, these are different file parameters are there. Okay, depending on what you want to check. Okay, you may want to check it whether this is file or not. You want me to check whether it is folder or not. Okay, there are so many file parameters. You don't need to memorize all of them, but you can refer them here.
So when using the if condition, the brackets has to be different.
Different? Different meaning brackets should be square brackets. That's a syntax.
Square brackets.
Oh.
Okay, that's a syntax. Okay.
That's a syntax. See, these are all different file parameters, file test operators. Do you see? File operators. Minus B means check if the file is block special file. If S, it means true. Okay, minus C, minus D, minus F, so many are there. It's not that you should mug up all of them. Always you can refer. But you need to have an idea, okay, you can check something like this about the file. Okay, examples were there like I'm using. You can also use them for your hands-on. Okay, do you see minus X file, minus W file, file has write permissions or not, file has read permissions or not, checking the permissions or checking if it is directory or not, checking file size is 0 or not, because if file size is 0, maybe you can delete it, kind of things, right? This is a tutorials, very good tutorials where you can refer the Linux. You don't need to learn the complete Linux on this page, but reference you can do here. Okay, this is also there in your Google Drive, all these references, right? Any more? Okay, now I have some file like I'm just printing them. Suppose you want to print these values, like let's say you want to pass some values. Okay, some folder names you want to pass here. 1 second, give me a second. So let's suppose you want to pass a file name and folder name rather than hard coding this way, right? You can do that whenever you call the script. Let me go for the script and let's. See here, this is called hard coding, means you are giving the file name, folder name here itself, right? Let's say I want to pass those attributes. Okay, first let me parameterize both of them. Let's say I would like to use here as folder name, another variable where, okay, it's a my directory I want to use. Means rather than config, I want to use my directory. I don't want to hard code it, rather I would like to use here as dollar folder name. Wherever this folder is being used, I just want to refer it with the variable because it's a config some time back. Now I want to, because I'm using it multiple locations, right? Why to write each and every time? I can refer it with the folder name, correct? For following what I'm doing, I'm replacing everything with a variable first. Here also. Right? Okay, good, all good. So I have taken another variable and placed the folder name there. Wherever I have, I'm just printing it as such. This time I took folder name as my directory. Is this good?
So Preeti, if folder is not actually present in current working directory, so do we need to pass complete path of that folder? Am I right?
If you want to create in the same current directory, you don't need to. Or like I did, you just put in the same directory if you want. If you want to create a folder in some other directory, then you have to put that path.
Okay. In the variable path, right?
Here, like here, yeah, here you have to
Yeah,
put
yeah.
path. Okay. Now save it. Now again it is same, but it is my directory. So now if I execute, will it go to if block or else block? Folder name is, what is the folder
If
name?
block.
What is the folder name?
My
my
directory.
My directory.
My directory. So see here, directory not found because I don't have my directory. I don't have, I have only this. So now it has used this file to configure, and contents of my directory means it has created it. See, my directory, inside this you have file.txt, right? Done. If you rerun it, because directory is already present, it will just show you the contents. Yeah. Yes, you can use Veera, you can use that syntax also. And here now, okay, fine. This is the script I have. Now let's suppose it's not my directory. Every time I want to change this directory name, right? How to do that?
Giving dollar.
Yeah, here, like I want to change, keep changing. I want to pass it when I am calling this script. Because I never know these folders and files names, what it is going to be. Okay, what I can do is, I can hard code, I can remove this hard coding, right? Now, if whenever I'm calling the script, I can pass those values. Oh, sorry, 1 minute. We should not remove them freeware. We should put the positional parameters. Okay, let me copy those file name and folder name. Okay, here I have hard coded it. Now what I'll do, instead of hard coding it, I may use some variables like, let's say file name, I want to pass it as first parameter, $1. Here, $2. Okay, what is $1, $2? Those are positional parameters. Means whenever you call your script, you pass the first one will be assigned to first value. Let's say my file name is new config.yml. Folder name is new directory. Means first one will be passed to $1, second one to $2. That's called positional parameters. Are we good? That makes more sense, right? You are using variable because each time it might be a different value. So everywhere, wherever you need it, you are using a variable. Wherever you are using that reference, there it will be replaced with these values. Correct?
Yes.
Config directory not found, creating the directory, using the file new config to configure. Contents of new directory is this one. Yeah. So meaning, see, this is created, sorry, this one new directory, go there, file one should be there inside it. That's what it was printing. Understood now the importance of variables? You may pass, next time when I run, my file name might be different, this might be different, whatever you use, it will be printed in here and the folder is created. Those are called positional parameters. That's how you can pass the values. And this is your script. Go through the script for a minute and still any questions, confusions, please let me know.
Preeti, this FI.
Louder,
What does it
please.
mean? Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, this FI, what does it mean?
SR.
FI.
Fi is closing to the if block. You open the if block
Mhm.
here. Reverse of if. Fi is to close this block. Okay, this if else block is closed till this part.
Achha. Got it. Yeah.
Any more questions?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
is there any other syntax replacing if module, if blocks?
There are other conditional statements, but it's not to replace it. Each has got their own functionality.
Okay.
They are not replacing if, okay? They have their own functional, like while loops, other constructs are there. While loops, for loops were there if you want to repeat something, but they are not like replacing it. If is a conditional statement. Those are used for different purpose, for doing things repetitively. If you are referring to that, I'm answering. Otherwise, you don't have anything that will replace this. There are like multiple conditions can be handled as well. If, else if is there, if you have multiple conditions, we'll go for it. So, but before we go there, good, right, this part?
Preeti, could you please see if I go to the first this thing line,
Mm.
it's like echo setup configure server.
Mm.
That means we are starting to configuring the server, right?
Just that's a print command. We are not actually doing any configuration here. That's just printing it.
Okay, echo is used to print a command.
That's all.
Okay, and then the next step is to file name is $1. So you mean to say that the
It means that
$1.
whenever we are calling this script, okay, I can pass some values to the script. The
Okay.
first value I pass will be assigned to the file name. Second value I pass will be assigned to the folder name. Meaning this is how I call the script. Right? First name will be passed to the file name. This will be passed to the folder name.
Okay.
So, Preeti, you cannot use that file name variable in the touch command.
Hmm.
So that, so that reason the file one is created on the new directory, not a new config.yml file.
Yes, this is a separate file which I am creating in the folder. This is different file. If you want, you can use the same file to create inside this also, but this is different. File one is fixed. Each time it will create file one only. And this is different, which is printing here. That file name is being printed here. That's all. That file is not going to be created anywhere. This is different and this is different.
Yeah, Preeti, can you create the file in different location?
You can create. Like suppose you want to create in some other location, sample.sh. Let's say which file you want to create, this one, this folder, right? Let's say you want to create in separate location.
For understanding.
TMP slash, you want to create this folder under TMP. Give this way. mkdir TMP folder name is your folder will be created inside the TMP. Here also inside that TMP you want to slash TMP folder name. Okay. Right? So the script remains same, this remains same. How you pass it also remains same. Here also you want to ls that folder. So TMP slash this. Here also, here it is fine. Folder name. Contents of that folder, or else if you want to print contents of the whole path. Okay. Good. Can I close it?
Yes, yes.
Sample file name is, let's say I'm running from a home directory. This is home directory actually, not TMP. Okay. And now I want to run the script. Sample.sh, pass the file name first. File name, let's say, or else, let's say I want to pass the file name as script.sh. Folder name under TMP, it should create a folder called my directory. That should be created in the TMP. So what I'll say, my TMP directory, which should be created in TMP folder. See, it says config directory not found, creating it using the script. This is the one which is passed here. And here see contents of TMP my directory is file 1. Where is this my TMP directory created here? Or where is it? Do you see? It is created under this one, my TMP directory. And if you go to my TMP, you see file 1. Understood everyone? Clear?
Yes, madam.
So anywhere you can create. Not only in the current, but in the current directory, if you are doing, you don't need to give the complete path. But if anywhere else, you have to give the path. Okay, these are called positional parameters. Shall we see another example with this positional parameters? Multiple if conditions. Good to go?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to create another file. Let's say sample or else script.sh. Okay, here, or else let me use the same script also, fine. Okay, here I just want to use few variables like user group. User group is X. And then I want a condition. I want to check if this user group is so and so. So user group is Preeti, then it should be printed like, just I'm not doing any configuration, just printing it. You may write steps to install the servers or whatever, like install commands. Else if means I have multiple conditions. So else if is called as elif in short. And again, this is the one. Else if means if it is, okay, someone else, let's say admin group, user group name is admin. They can administer the server. Just printing it again, echo command, admin the server. If anyone else means I have 3 conditions. Else means anyone else other than who are not in Preeti's group, not in admin group. Sorry. It should be printed like echo no permissions to the server. Right? And it will be closed with if block. Are we good? If I run this because X doesn't belong here or here, it should say no permissions. Let me run this. I have to pass two values actually. Let's say file2 or whatever, and the folder name is my folder. Okay. Okay, some syntax error in the else. Let's check. Go to sample. See, that's how syntax errors will be shown. Line 22, 29, it was showing error. 22, yeah, this one. There should be no space here. Okay, that's one thing I believe. That's all. It should be fine. Still 29, else. It was showing something wrong here. Elif, oh, okay.
Conditions.
After elif also, there should be then. Then, okay. You can get this syntax. You can refer the Google and get the syntax. See, no permissions because it's X. Yeah. But what I want to do, I just want to parameterize this also. $3. Yeah, third parameter. Now I can pass the username as Preeti. See, configure the server because it went into that particular block. I may say admin. Okay, admin the server. Let's say I'll put Tom. No permissions. Understood? So first value whenever I'm calling will be assigned here, second value here, third value here. What if you pass it in reverse? Yeah, that will take the same way. It will create a folder called gym. Let's say that should be the user, but I'm giving in a reverse order my config directory. So because it is considering this as a user, no permissions. And it has created this folder in the TMP. Do you see? TMP gym. It has created under TMP. If you go CD, gym is there. Do you see? So you should pass the values properly for positional parameters. Understood the concept of positional parameters? Any confusions, questions? Let me open the script. Go through it and let me know. I can repeat it, okay? Let me know, but you should ask me, like, you should find out where you are not understanding. Feel free to respond and convey your concerns. Tell me.
What if we have we are not giving third parameter?
If you don't give third parameter, let's say I'm not giving anything. Okay, see, you have to pass the value, operator expected. But again, it has got executed as blank, but still it could not find the value. Right, line number 24, 27, these things, user group, position parameter. Any more queries?
Preeti, in this, like everything, like whatever variables we are declaring, right? There is no data types, right? Like in other languages, Java.
You don't need them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
generic, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Let's say if I want to pass like a Boolean value.
You can directly assign any value to the variables. You don't need to define their data type.
Suppose you want to pass like some integer value.
Anything you can assign to the variables like this. You don't need to define it. X equal to 5 and so on. right? You can assign this way and still you can use it. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Any more questions? See, these scripts are not mandatory. Not that everyone is using these scripts, shell scripts. Okay, you can have some idea, get some basic understanding, that will do. But people ask me that there are so many places shell script is being used and all. Shell script is used as a part of DevOps, not that it's the only one thing in DevOps, not that every project is using it. If any project is using it, some basic idea will help you understand them and use them. There might be projects which are entirely dependent on shell scripting. There they will look for people with expertise on shell scripting, but that's not our role. Means it's not mandatory. See, if you are interested in such roles, then you should learn shell scripting in depth to get into. Like I already mentioned, let's say there are 10 job postings, not that every job posting is for us. Okay, you decide whether you want to master shell scripting and get into projects. So they say DevOps project only, but lot of shell scripting is used in such projects you want to get in, or else you want to learn other tools and get into the DevOps where other tools are prioritized. It depends on what role you want to get in. Not that every job description suits everyone. Okay. Got the point? Shell scripting is not mandatory. It's not used in all the projects. There might be some projects which are using shell scripting, basic one, or else they might be using rigorously. For them, they will look for people who have very good understanding on such scripting. So people with prior experience or prior, like before they might have worked on that. So they might be eligible for that role. You don't need to, if you are completely, you don't need to struggle and learn this much to the depth to get into such roles. Maybe if you are interested, yes, I like this, I'm interested in it, then it's up to you to learn it to the core, but it is not mandatory for DevOps people. You look into the job description and the roles where you have a prioritized on other tools like Jenkins, Ansible, Kubernetes, Terraform. So you decide whether you want to choose such a role where DevOps implementation is there with all these tools, or some projects where the shell scripting is used. Okay, so give less weightage to this, concentrate more on that part. That's what I would say. Tell me.
Yeah, one more question for me.
Mm.
Let's say if I want to store the output of the let's say we have done some calculation maybe. So let's say int x plus y is equal to 10. I would like to save that value, right? Output of that particular value
Mm.
in some other variable, right? Mostly we will do that. So yeah, how can we do that?
You can refer here for all such operations, okay? Like I told you now, we were looking into basic part as that's not a mandatory. Refer here, see shell substitutions, input, output, redirections. You have functions as well. Okay, these might help you. Just refer this ones, okay, for such operations you want to perform. File management, directories, permissions. Permissions we have seen, file management we have seen. VI editor I was talking about, right? You have these things. Similarly, if you want to look anything else, please refer this documentation. You have a lot of things over the internet, but I would suggest you can give less weightage to this when you compare with others. See, using variables, different variables. If you want, like, this is how you define no data types kind of. I told you, right? Just the variable name and the value. So refer them, Xing them with a dollar, right? So try out looking onto this page, it can help you. If you have any such scenarios, this is the reference you can go through. If
Okay.
everyone is good with this, I'll show you another small thing where you can pass the user input. User input in case like during runtime, if you want the script to be passed and push some input, like reading user input. Okay, just printing it. And user input will be with read -p. Please enter your password. Okay. Okay, echo. Thanks for your password. Right? I just want to print some variable here. Now, if you run the script, of course, you have to pass so many values. Yeah, reading user input, and do you see it? Just pause it there. You have to enter your password. Yeah, thanks for your password. Username, generally we use it for username, not passwords this way. But yeah, some kind of input. It will pause until you give your input. So that's another way you can pass your inputs during runtime. These are some of the basics of shell scripting, right? We will use this shell script initially in our CI/CD pipelines in our course. Like I said, it's not mandatory you should use shell script in your pipeline. First, I'll show you how to use this or where the scenario comes in to use this shell script. Then I'll also show you how you can replace this shell script with other configuration management tools like Ansible and so on. Because in nowadays, shell script is becoming obsolete with the configuration management tools. We are having so many other tools in DevOps which can automate. We are no more relying on shell script, but there were still projects, older projects or projects still continuing the same because of the practice they were used to. But that's not the best way to do the things, right? So first we will create a pipeline wherein we'll be using some shell script. Then we will also proceed ahead by automating the things without shell script so that you know how you can automate the things without shell script. All of that we'll do in the pipelines. So with these basics, we can get started into the other topic like Jenkins. We'll be using this Linux throughout the course. There will be so many other new things of Linux, which will be Linux commands and all, which we'll be discussing as we progress, particularly the SH concept. Anyway, I'll give you SH concept now. So like that, we'll come across these concepts throughout the course, but this is enough to get started with Jenkins. But before we start with Jenkins, I would like to explain you the concept of SH. Good to go, or any more questions before that?
Madam, what does that tilde do, madam? We are changing to that.
Tilde is a shortcut for home directory. See,
Okay.
present working directory will give you which directory you are in, current directory. Okay, that's a root, right? Tilde is a shortcut for the home directory. That's a home directory for root user.
We can directly go to root user like sudo
Sudo su hyphen. Sudo
they, that time we can't use that tilde, no, madam.
In the sudo command.
That's mean the
In the sudo command, you don't give the path. Sudo su hyphen means you
suppose if I am in EC2 user,
okay.
if I want to go to root, I can directly use sudo su hyphen without using tilde.
Yeah. See, whenever you switch to any user, you'll be by default going to their home directory only. Home directory's shortcut is defined with tilde.
Okay,
Means
okay.
every user, let's say you have so many users. One second.
Okay.
You have so many users like a root user, EC2 user. Okay, every user will have this home directory under home EC2 user. Okay, here root user's home directory is root only. Okay, like this, every user is having their own home directory. Like Tom user is having home directory as home Tom. Okay, these home directory is represented with tilde operator, shortcut. And whenever you switch to any user, you will go to their home directory only.
Okay.
Got it?
Okay.
Like see, I am in, now it's showing root user. If I come back as EC2 user, it will show EC2 user's home directory. See tilde, present working at its home EC2 user. Suppose I want to switch to Tom user. Sorry, su-tom. Okay, password. Again, you are seeing tilde, means this is the home directory of Tom user,
Okay, madam.
home Tom. Okay.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Okay, now let me talk about, okay, I came out of this. It's okay. So now let's talk about this SSH concept. SSH means secure shell. Secure shell. What is the secure shell again? That's a protocol to connect to remote server. Suppose you want to connect to some remote server. Okay, that's what is SSH used for. Let's say I want to connect to some remote machine from my laptop. That's where SSH protocol is used. This is the very widely used protocol, secure shell, okay, which works on port 22. Forget about EC2 connection and just listen it as a new topic. Okay, I'll refer to that topic also. So first let us understand. Let's suppose this is my laptop. I want to connect to some remote server. This remote server might be on AWS or it might be on-prem, like their own data center, or it might be anywhere. So this is my local machine. And this is called, will be called as SSH client, and this is SSH remote machine. Okay, now if I want to connect to any machine, and one more thing, this SSH connection is of two types. Okay, it is of key based and the other one is password based. Password based, we know, right? Like you generate a password, username and password, you share it, you can connect. But this is not widely used because it's more vulnerable for thefts and attacks. We'll be using key based, means it will generate a key, okay, which is a hash key, which is generated by using some RSA algorithms at the back end. So key is very difficult to vulnerable, or it is less vulnerable for thefts, right? So will be used majority of the times, most of the times in real time, key based authentication only. Okay. So key based, again, key means there'll be two keys. Private key. Give me 1 second, please. Can you see black screen now?
Yes.
Okay. So as such, okay, key based means it will have two keys, private key and the public key. Okay, to keep it will be always a key pair. You imagine private key as the key for your door. This is like a lock, correct? Yeah, when you are leaving your home, you put a lock and key. So you can refer private key as the key, public key as the lock. Okay, now this is my laptop. There'll be a lot of confusion over this topic, so please follow carefully. So this is your laptop. You want to connect from here to this machine. Let's say some server one. Okay. Now, let's say you have some user here called Preeti. You have to create key pair with this user. As Preeti user, I will create a key pair. Key pair means, what is a key pair? You will have a public key and a private key. Now, after generating key pair, what you will do? Private key should not be shared with anyone. So you keep the public key here only. You keep the private key here only and copy the public key to whichever server you want. So this public key is key pair. The private key you are having means you can connect to it. Right? Let's suppose I want to connect to another remote server. I have one more server, S2 tomorrow. You will generate another key pair 2. You will keep the private key 2. You will put the public key 2. So because you have the private key from this laptop also, you can connect. As the same user, you should have the same user available here also. the user with which you are doing should be available here as well. Pritesh user should be here. You can create the same users. Suppose you want to connect to some other user on this machine as Tom. So you have to generate a key pair as a Tom user. This is Tom's key pair. If Tom has to connect to this machine, here also Tom should be there. Tom's public key should be present here. I mean, whichever key pair generated, that corresponding public key. Means just understand that every user have to use their own key pair. Okay, the same user should be present on both the machines. Okay, and if you are connecting from your laptop to that machine, means you have that private key of that machine with this particular user. Suppose I have two laptops, one is Linux, another one is Mac. Let's say I'm connecting from Mac, I want to connect from my Linux also. How can you connect? Let's say this is my Linux laptop, Mac. I have one more machine. From here also, I want to connect to this machine. Already it has got public key. So if I can share my Mac key to this, okay, that particular private key here, from here also I can connect, correct? Otherwise, you have to generate a separate key pair. Otherwise, you have the same key pair, you can connect, correct? That's why you should not share the private key with anyone. If anyone have the private key, even they can connect to the remote server. Only the concept is, see, you generate a key pair, you put the public key on remote machine, you keep private key with you. Then you can connect to that machine. Simple. Matching private key you should have. You can connect any server. Are we good?
Yeah,
Who
if a
creates?
user, no, if a user wants to connect from another laptop using the same private key, from the same time from the multiple laptops, would that be possible?
Same time, it is possible with SSH, I believe. Yes, possible. If you have the key. There is no time or multiple connections. Of course, I think you can also change those settings, like multiple connections possible or not. That way you can control. By default, you can.
Madam, admin is going to create this for us, or we should create?
See, we will talk about it, okay? Who will create and all, we will talk about this. Understood this concept first? Yeah?
Okay.
Understood or not? Any questions? Just forget about users, different key pairs. Just understand, you want to connect to a remote machine from your local means, you should have the key pair generated. Okay, what I'll do, I'll generate, how to generate and all commands we learn. You will generate a key pair, you will keep the private key, and you will put the public key here. So if you are having a matching private key, means you can connect to it. Correct? Yeah, that's all. That's how you connect to any remote machine. Then how are you connecting to AWS instance? The same concept, but it is done differently. How it is done differently, I'll tell you. See, let's suppose this remote machine is your AWS instance. But you may be asking, we did not generate a key pair. Yeah, let's say this is AWS server. Yeah, we did not generate the key pair. It is doing it in a different way. Means this instance is generating a key pair. Do you remember whenever you create it asks, do you want to generate a new key pair? Do you remember that? And what it is doing, yes, it is generating a key pair that is keeping the public key and giving you the private key in the form of PEM file. Reverse way. So you have the private key, so you are connecting to EC2 instance. Got the point?
Understood, yeah.
No can also be the answer. But please respond. If you don't follow the initial classes, next sessions, coming up sessions, you will like to give up. Don't do that. Any difficulty, any thing I can repeat here. Later on classes, I may not be able to repeat also because these things are already done. We have to go in the flow as all these topics are discussed. I'm repeating. See, AWS machine is there. Okay, that is a remote machine. Generally, you should create a key pair. You should copy public key there. But what this machine is doing, it is generating key pair. It's keeping the public key, giving us the private key as PEM file. So in your laptop, you have the private key or connecting to it. Thanks, Vinay, for confirming that you understood. Yeah. That's what we are doing till now. That's why if you see, I'll relate to this part. Let me show you that AWS. Here, see, whenever you create an instance, you just go here, create an instance. Right here, do you see key pair? Do you want to create a new key pair? For the first time, you can create. Later on, already keys if generated, you can use. So when you go for this, see, it is helping you download this. If you remember, PEM file is downloaded. That's a key. That's a private key. Later on, how do you connect? These are the SH commands. We will do that. Okay, how to generate a key pair to connect to other machines also. We will do those things also. I'm just trying to relate you with this. See, already this is generated. This is how you connect. SH minus I, that private key. What user you are connecting? EC2 user is a default user, means this PEM file is generated as EC2 user at the rate host name or IP address of that machine. Now this command should make sense for you. See, it is saying open SSH client. SSH client is nothing but a terminal, an interface to execute the SSH protocol. Okay, like Git bash or terminal on your Mac or putty, mobexterm. These are all different SSH clients. Means just an interface to help you connect. Terminal is an SSH client on Mac. On Windows, Git bash is an SSH client, means which provides you an interface to connect to remote machines via SSH protocol. Right? And the mobexterm is there, putty is there, like Git bash. These are all different interfaces, right? SSH clients. So it is saying open your SSH client, go to the location of the PEM file. PEM file should have only read-only permissions. 400 means read-only, because it should be readable only as EC2 user or whatever the user, not with anyone else. So chmod, that particular user. Okay, and you are connecting to the instance with this DNS. DNS means host name. You can also use public IP here. That's why we are running this command, SSH command. I believe now it's clear the concept behind connecting to those EC2 instances. See, everyone, let me finish, please. Everyone should know this SSH concept. Okay, it's very important that you all know this SSH concept, because in real time, you may not be given this PEM files or all, but you will SSH into so many servers, like with the host names and all. You don't need to generate it. Okay, key pairs will be generated, keys will be stored. This is how you connect to some Bastion servers, gem servers. So you should know the concept. And coming to your question, someone is asking who will create it. Generally, you will have permissions to create the keys as a admin user. Already the connections will be established. You can directly SSH into the machines like I did. But in case if you want to connect to any new servers, any test servers, you may be having permissions. And whatever, whether you create or someone else create and configure it, that is the concept behind. Yeah, tell me, someone is asking a question.
Madam, you said that that key pair while we are creating, we are getting that PEM file, which is a private key. I am not able to see that public one.
Public one you can't see. That is internally stored in the machine in AWS, EC2 instance server. You don't see the public key. You don't get the public key.
Okay. While we generating that
public key should be there on remote machine. So it is available in the remote.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, madam.
Yeah. So we will be doing this SSH, okay? Between two EC2 instances, we'll establish this SSH connection as we go by. We will do, we will run those commands. We will learn the message, generate key pair, copy the key, put the public key, copy the private key. We will establish this SSH connection in multiple ways between a couple of EC2 instances. Okay, as we go by, as per the scenario we will do. Like I said, if you notice, we are not just learning something because we should learn this content, right? When we come across that scenario, we are doing it. Similarly, when we start Jenkins, we have to connect to a remote machine. So there we will do this as such and connect. So that makes more sense. But because we are connecting to EC2, I just want to give an idea on this. That's a actual concept.
Preeti, one question here. Is public key need to be available at both the servers?
On the remote machine to which you want to connect.
Okay. Okay.
Tomorrow we shall get started with Jenkins. We will learn first what is continuous integration. Then we will talk about how Jenkins can be used. Right? Then we'll install Jenkins. The same EC2 instance you can use. Okay, whatever you are using here, you can use the same. Okay, till I will let you know when you have to have another instance. Till then, you can use the same instance. So every day, once you are done, just stop it and start it whenever you need it. If you don't need it at any point of time, terminate means it will be terminated. Anyway, I'll create new one tomorrow, but it's up to you. You can use the same. Terminate means it will be shut down and deleted. Stop means you can use it again later. So make sure you are stopping or terminating accordingly, but just don't leave them running. Okay.
Within the console, like we can see what are the packages installed in this portal, or it is from it.
You can't see anything of the instance details other than like IP and all. You can't see what are there inside the machine. No. Only once you connect, you can see.
Okay. Like I have one doubt. I just want to know. Like I got confused with the port number. So how to know whether which port is running and on the instance with respect
Here
to
you can see here what are all ports opened, right? But what is running on each port, you have to log in and see.
Okay.
Only which ports are open, that information you can see here. But okay, what is running on 1990, what is running on 80, that or you have to log into the server and use netstat command like we used to see.
Okay. Where is that in security? Go down. In the inbound tools, right? Where is that?
Security, you have to click that security group. Then you will see inbound, outbound. In the inbound, you will see to which traffic is allowed.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Preeti, one query. Actually, I try to do. If I lost the key pair, how can I regenerate it?
You can't regenerate. You have to use
Is
another machine. So you should be very careful storing that.
not, for example, it's a production or anything else in the organization. If I lost the key pair, how can I? Is it through
For
any
production
shell?
servers, it will not be stored in such a way that they'll be lost, right? Production server keys will have a secure mechanism to store the keys. They might be using vaults, they might be using separate APIs to store those credentials. Such small thing, there is no chance of doing it for production for companies, isn't it?
We can create a key-free environment, na?
Password authentication.
Password authentication. We don't need to any PM key for that.
But password authentication, like I already mentioned in the beginning, what is the problem?
Yeah.
Someone remembers the password, someone forget the password, or else of course passwords can be stored, but it's more vulnerable for attacks. In real time, we never use password-based authentication. Any more queries?
Out of curiosity, I'm asking Preeti. So most of the times now we are seeing that AI is actually, automating a lot of process in DevOps. So what is that actually? How we can understand that?
Yeah, see, I just want to show you that as well. Thanks for reminding. Actually, When I'm showing this, I just want to show you ChatGPT. I'll come to your question. This will answer your question. See, like, let's say, like, there are so many people out there, right, who may think by after today's session, generally, everyone will think, I don't know, maybe some of them who don't know shell scripting, should I know shell scripting? If somewhere shell scripting is there, people have some, let's say, not so comfortable with it. Maybe not only shell scripting, some people will not be comfortable with Docker, Jenkins. So today we learn shell script. So suppose you are completely new to this. Okay, you can put your query there. The prompt is important. Shell script, shell script to check user, or else check if directory is present. That's what we want, right? Give the prompt. Okay. And you have everything here. Directory is taken as a variable. See, whatever I have written. Do you see that? A variable called directory. They have taken directory as a variable and the path, and see -d. And it can also explain you. See, explanation. -d means it's a path to the directory. If statement checks, everything is here. Explanation also. Right? Yeah, very good, right? For your lab, you can use it. If you're stuck up, I thought of showing you this yesterday itself. Yeah, if you're stuck up anywhere, you should use ChatGPT as your first help, as an assistant you can use, right? So yeah, you can do this. Let's suppose tomorrow we are going to write some pipelines. I need Jenkins file for develop, compile, not for develop, for compile test stages in CI/CD. Right? You will get the complete file. Who should learn this? Why should you learn it? Right? Everything is generated. You can read it. Explanation should be there somewhere. Where is it? Okay, it's still generating. Explanation is there. You can just go and use it, right? Yeah. You have ChatGPT. You have so many AI tools for it. But see, when you have to understand this and use it in real time, if you're just blind, let's suppose we didn't learn Jenkins file it. Can you just go and use it in your environment by reading this? If you haven't used any time, let's say if it's a production, can you do it?
I have done it actually, Priti, this one.
Hmm?
Yeah, I have created some pipeline scripts to run my automations without having much knowledge, but yes, I have done it.
To how extent? Simple things we can do it, right? First of all, ChatGPT is giving you, but you have to give the prompt, right? Means
Yes.
first you should know. Okay, there is something like Jenkins file, you have given the prompt, right? Let's say someone else is there, we don't know what is Jenkins file at all. How do you give the prompt? You should know first of all what it can do, right? Yeah. Also, you should be able to judge whether this is right or wrong. Yeah, what about the complex scenarios? There will be so many complex use cases where you have to intervene and fix the issues. Yeah, it can be, ChatGPT can be used like a helping hand, right? If this is the case, if ChatGPT is there, you don't need to take up the course also then. Why should you learn it? Yeah, why should I teach? Yeah.
Yes.
So this can be used as a helping hand. Definitely as a helping hand, as an assistant, you can use it. Not to replace the real DevOps engineer, right? Like who have worked on the things, who have seen the troubleshooting, all of this comes in. With this, you can't troubleshoot. You know, okay, agent means a remote machine, post means post section. That's all. What in case of troubleshooting the things? What if you have complex pipelines, custom pipelines made for your projects? Yeah, it can't replace it, but it can be used like a helping hand. You can definitely use it, get used to it. You can take a help of it, but blindly without knowing what. Just this explanation is not enough in real time. Yeah, you may have to do many things. It will just give you whatever you ask. But when you don't know something, let's suppose now, I want to run 2 stages parallelly. How do you first of all, you should know whether you can run them parallelly or not. Then you can ask it. You have to ask it, right? Give me code to run the stages parallelly. But how do you know whether you can run them parallelly or not? Or else, let's say I want to run it on Windows machine. Yeah. So it can be used like a helping hand as an assistant, but it cannot replace it. For our labs also, you can use this so that you can try out different things, whatever you want. Eventually, you have to learn and grow. That's why in the coming days, what happens, because you are having such AI tools, the strongest, like in the technical aspect, the strongest will survive in the market, because we don't need so many engineers. We just need few, but with expertise, with proper expertise. But this will take again years, maybe a decade also. We never know how much time it will take even to come to this stage, to replace the engineers, to scale down the engineers. How much time it takes, we never know. But there is a chance. First, initially, there might be scale down on the engineers. Then again, it takes decades if it has to replace completely. As of now, or else as in the coming decade also, maybe we can't expect complete replacement.
Yeah, I know, I understood. Is there any other AI tools that we need to focus, probably after learning this course, or maybe which is
See,
something useful
this
for experience?
chat GPT. Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, I'm just asking, is there any other AI tools like
Mm.
ChatGPT? Okay, so which actually help actually, to, like freshers are there maybe who are actually seeking the career in the DevOps.
Mm.
So is there any other AI tool that you suggest to, to learn it after the.
I know only this chat GPT. Even I'm not using in my project because it doesn't work for me. Or everything is custom in our projects. I can't use this. But yeah, I would suggest this for freshers if they were into fresher role, if they don't know like basics, like a basic pipeline they want to see. Okay, this is explaining you. That's how you can use it for learning and for troubleshooting in our lab also. You can use this. No idea on other AI tools.
Okay, okay.
Maybe if anything comes up and companies are using it, I would let you know. But yeah.
Fine.
Like see in certain projects, like even the Jenkins files, everything might be custom created. They might be using something else, some other API, some in-house tools. Definitely, then this can't be used. ChatGPT will not help for in-house tools, right? They'll be using their own tools. Companies
Yes.
are there where they use their own tools. This cannot, ChatGPT can't do anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, good. It is good to use as a reference, as a helping material here for your labs. You can get use of it. All right then. Yeah. That's all from my end. We will continue tomorrow. We'll get started with Jenkins, but do some hands-on, get prepared. Okay. Do the hands-on dial and also the quiz. Go through the quiz portal, complete the Linux quiz, and go for the hands-on. Okay. All right then. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow. Have a good day.
Thank you, Prithvi.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.